Well, today was a fun day. I had to do what's called a third-party food safety audit. It's something that's required if you deal with large corporations like Walmart or Kroger's, places like that, Target. It's an inspection that is above and beyond anything you'd experience through your normal state honey house inspection or even the FDA. It's much more than that. I'm surrounded by log books that we had to go through with an inspector, or they call themselves auditors. I probably got 300 or 400 pages of stuff that has to be audited by this person. This is the first book, number 1. It says Blue Ridge Honey Company Policy, Plans, and Procedures, and everything else follows that. Table of contents is interesting. Policy statement, plans and procedures update log, cleaning procedures for honey house, training, pest, product ingredients, processing standards, honey suppliers. There's a huge list on this page of things we've got to deal with, and it's mostly about documentation. We got this main book, we have the Walmart lot codes book, pest control and water filter logs. This book is full of daily and weekly logs that have to be checked off on what we've done, and you can't miss any of it, or that'll be a non-conform check off. Incident management log. This is all about incidents that happen and how we have to document what went wrong, who fixed it, who reported it, is it working now, and I have to check off that I checked it to make sure that it's done properly. Cleaning, training, water temperature, filter log book, maintenance repair log. Anytime anything in this building gets fixed that has to do with the honey processing, it has to be logged in. We have to show who did it, why they did it, is it fixed, is it working now. This is a big one right here. That's a pretty fat book. Operation batch log, honey traceability log, HACCP critical control points log, blending inspection log, blending log, refractometer log. We even have to calibrate our refractometers and log that we did it and show proof that we did it. And we have a lot of paperwork from scale calibration companies, and the list is just, it's really interesting. I never thought I'd be in the middle of this much stuff just to be a honey packer. We have to have our water tested, our honey tested. We have to show all the documentation for all the chemical tests. I don't know, it's really in depth. Let's just pick on a little bit of this. Product contamination. Procedures for product contamination and risk management. And then we have to have a form that everybody signs that they've been trained. Goods released to customers. Chemical and cleaner policy. Every employee has to sign it, that they understand the policy, how chemicals and lubricants and cleansers that are in the building could possibly contaminate honey. When we're done at the end of the day, they all have to be behind lock and key so nobody can come into the building after hours and create mischief. Allergen, that's a good one. Allergen policy statement, and then we have to state all the allergens that could possibly be a problem in honey. All the employees have to sign off on this. Next one, honey tests. These are all tests by the USDA on chemicals. Most of the chemicals we're testing for are actually chemicals that could have been put in by beekeepers. Hygiene. Visitor contractor hygiene practices for Blue Ridge Honey Company. Big training sheet here. All employees have to sign off on it. Work exclusion. It's what sicknesses you cannot come to work if you have this. Jaundice, diarrhea, vomiting, big long list for that stuff. Much of it's just no-brainer stuff. You know, anything that anybody would do naturally, but we have to log it. It's all about documentation, signatures, that people understand it. Warranties from the companies we buy containers from, warranties that the company is pretty much swearing that their products are within specifications. Many companies that we buy containers from. Honey blending procedures, refractometer, scale. Gotta have our scale checked every week. We have some calibrated weights that we use to check all our scales, and then periodically we have to take the scales to an official place we use is called Scale Systems down in Atlanta, and they check and calibrate all the scales. Let's see. Licenses and registration. Got a lot of licenses. State of Georgia, FDA, U.S. Food and Drug. That's just one book. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books that's sitting in front of me. So, if you're thinking seriously about getting into honey packing and you're going to be doing business with large corporations like Walmart, Kroger's, Target, Publix, Costco, all of those kind of places, this is what you're going to be in for. You might have to take some training. I've got through some of this stuff myself. Let's see, the HACCP, that's a big deal. I think it's in this book. HACCP plan. I taught myself how to do a HACCP plan, and a HACCP plan is no joke if you do it properly. There's the log that it gets reviewed periodically. Flow charts, flow diagram. It's all got to coincide. Boy, she went over, the auditor today went over this thing with a fine-tooth comb. This is all about what they call critical control points. In these books, it's called a CCP. We have CCP 1, CCP 2, CCP 3, and 4. And it's always a point at which something can go wrong. For instance, if a filter gets clogged, you have to have some way of logging it. It has to be measurable. It has to be demonstratable. All of these CCP points have gauges or measuring devices on them so we can prove what we're logging. Certification of compliance. It's a bit much. Sometimes it makes me wonder whether it's really worth it. And then when the audit's over, I kind of take a deep breath and say, yeah, I guess it's worth it. It's just something you have to do. Now we have one big corporation that wants us to move into something that's even deeper. I'm not going to mention names, but it's just too much. I can't do it. We're going to lose one of our customers. They want us to have metal detectors. They want us to have laser X-ray machines that can X-ray bottles, and we got to have, the list is just insane. To comply with that one corporation, we'd actually have to have our own lab. I'm just not going to go there. I'd have to hire a lab technician and get all the measuring devices that it would take. I just can't do that. So. Anyway, I'm not trying to be negative here, although I guess I sound like I am. It's just part of the game. It's the part I don't like. I'd much rather be in the bee yard or creating YouTube videos like this. And I just wanted to show you what we have to go through in case anybody's interested in getting to our size. The good news is we passed pretty well on all of our paperwork. We got a 96%, which is, in my book, pretty good. Good for me anyway. And then on our physical inspection, which has to do with cleanliness and appropriate handling of equipment, It would be on site, like outside and inside the building, pest control devices, physical appearance of measuring devices and all of that. We got 100%, so we did pretty good on our inspection, so I'm happy with that. And a good thing about doing all of this is it actually really does force you to look at things in a different way. Suddenly, when you have to fill out a log sheet every day that the bathroom did get cleaned, or that the honey pouring machine did get cleaned, or the filter was checked, suddenly when the employees have to fill out a log every day and show that they've done that, it forces them to take a look at it. So there is some wisdom in all of this stuff, even though it feels like a bit much at times. It forces us to do a good job, so I'm happy about that. I was really pleased with the 96 on the paperwork and 100% on the physical, so all in all, not a bad day.